So, what should you say to me now that you know I have stage 4 cancer? I get it. Cancer, like me, can be super awkward. And I know what it's like trying to figure out what to say when somebody that you love has some unthinkable pain in their life. And one of the things that complicates the problem is not knowing how the person feels about it themselves, which incidentally is a good place to begin. Ask them, how do you want me to talk to you? What are you comfortable with? The fact is, there's no one way to talk to anybody about their pain because we all have our own preferences. But I take my cues from my blind mother. I have met blind people who get really offended when you talk about their blindness outright. But my mother is just the opposite. She will tell funny stories about blindness. She will tell jokes about blindness. And in that way, the elephant in the room becomes a comfortable dinner companion and everybody gets on swimmingly. People relax and they stop worrying about putting their foot in their mouth. My mom will put it there for you, or she will put hers in her own, or whatever. As for me, I try to make this easier for you by telling you absolutely everything that I feel at every moment of the day. You're welcome. So, I want to share with you what I told my loved ones on June 20th, 2020, 3 weeks after my diagnosis with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and what I told them about how I wanted them to talk to me. Please do not dance around the topic of death with me. I am a direct person and I'm not afraid of death, so I'm definitely not afraid of talking about it. Same with cancer, it's not taboo for me. And you often give things more power by refusing to name them aloud. It's like when somebody whispers in front of my mother, she's blind. And my mom always wants to scream, yeah, but I'm not deaf. She hates that whispering. It's super patronizing, talking about somebody in the third person in their presence, of course. And as I mentioned in another video, there is nothing more damning than euphemizing or whispering about something as if it really were too shameful or too powerful to say out loud. It's almost like you're revering it. Let us not revere cancer by being afraid to use its name. Let us be grown-ups and call things as they are. This pain is not unspeakable. It's totally speakable. Look, I'm speaking about it now. And when you speak it, you disarm it like a bomb. Just one little snip of a red wire. Very anticlimactic. And no more power to destroy you. Also, gallows humor. Yes, please. One thing I do not want is sympathy. I think most people feel that way. Compassion is one thing, and it's one of my highest values, and I'm so glad that you feel it for me. But sympathy and commiseration feel to me condescending. Yes, I am managing many different kinds of pain, and so are you. You feel pain for me? You feel pain when you consider the possibility that I might not live through this and you will lose me. And I treasure your love and I grieve for you, even as you grieve for me. And I grieve for you, even as you grieve for me. I grieve for us. We grieve for each other. That is how love works. That is what love does. But for Pete's sake, don't view me as a victim of cancer or of anything. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm not a victim. My eyes are wide open and I am not ignorant of the size of my foe. And you need to know that I'm an emotional triathlete. I have been training for this contest all my life. I didn't know about it, didn't plan it. Not one of those weirdos who spent their teen years fantasizing about the most dramatic death they could stage, like that dude in Harold and Maude, which is a delightful movie, incidentally, and who was clearly an Enneagram 4. But I'm up for it. I'm strong. I'm prepared. I have the inner resources that I need. And I am floating in love, both human and divine. I have amazing friends and family caring for me and helping me with every step. I have everything I need. Whom she calls, she also equips. So instead of expressions of sympathy, I'd much rather hear words of affirmation and admiration. Please don't do me the disservice of saying something you don't believe. Like most people, I can sniff that crap out in seconds. But if you really believe it, remind me that I'm a badass, that I'm strong and fit and up for the fight. I really appreciated it the other day when Sansi, my friend of 30 years, said, "Cancer has never faced a tougher opponent." I see you've been honing your innate gift of encouragement all these years. That made me stand up taller and puff out my chest. I know some of you think that's totally unnecessary, and others are like, do it again, do it again. Anyway, she made me grin. She knows me well after all these years. So go ahead and ask me how I am, but not unless you want the truth, because trust, I will always give you the truth. If you've met me, you know that. I'm quite happy for you to pray for me and to tell me that you're praying for me. I like being prayed for. I approve of prayer. Actually practice it myself just in case. Please tell me that you love me. Please tell me why you love me. Please tell me all those nice things that you're going to say at my funeral if it transpires in your lifetime. Better yet, please write these things down for me in a love letter or a card. You are allowed to wait until it looks like my situation is more dire if you can't stand the thought of me knowing how much you admire me if I'm to go on living indefinitely. My care team are trying to fatten me up for chemo. My new mantra is calories are my friend. Calories are my friend. It's a hard U-turn and eating all that ice cream is really a drag, but I'm soldiering on. And I don't want to be egocentric, but I think it might be okay to fatten up my ego for this journey into the bald wilderness of the blue wig. Pretty sure I'm going to get a turquoise wig. If anything in your life is different because our paths have crossed, such revelations are more valuable to me than solid gold or even cookie dough ice cream. I am touched by how many of my beautiful friends and family have offered to get on a plane and appear on my doorstep. I love you too, but stay the heck away. If I get COVID, I will die an even swifter and more brutal death. And that is the one thing I fear. I don't want to be taken out by some lame ass virus that 7.5 million other people have already had. I can't bear the ignominy of sharing my means of death with that many people. On a serious note, please pray for a vaccine, because if I do die in the time of COVID, I cannot currently do so surrounded by my friends and family. But if you wish you could be with me, you could send me a hard copy photo of yourself. Remember those? Like a 4x6 maybe? Because I think I'd like to cover a poster board with pictures of those who love me so that I can feel like they're all loving me from wherever they are. Put that around my bed. Or if you really, really wish you could be with me, you could send me a stuffed animal and I'll put it on my bed and pretend that each one is an endless supply of hugs from you. Because hugs are something I'm not getting during COVID. And it's one of the hardest things about having cancer during a pandemic. I do actually like to hear your stories of cancer and illness and loss. Some people don't. I do. That's one of my unique 4 qualities. I'm very comfortable sitting with others in dark places, and that's also why I'm not afraid to sit in the dark by myself. And I'm aware that I can learn from your stories and be encouraged by them and become wiser through them. And also because I love you, I like to hear about your journey. So I looked up an internet article about what not to say to someone who has cancer, and the only one I agreed with was don't blame the cancer on their lifestyle. Even if it were true, it's unhelpful. But I actually can't imagine any of my friends being that tactless and indelicate. Also, please don't blame me for not being positive enough if my cancer gets worse. I do agree that it's a little bit frustrating when people say that they are certain I will survive this. You just can't know that. And I know you're trying to encourage me, but it kind of makes it look like I failed if it turns out that the cancer is too advanced and my body can't fight it off. I would prefer something like, I believe you will survive this. And if you don't, I will still be here. Because some people are okay coming along for the ride as long as they think you're going to win, but they flee like the wind when it turns out that you're actually probably going to die. Please don't be pansies, loves. You are not going to dissolve into a pile of ashes, even if I do. Death is not contagious. Spread that around. I'm not sure everybody knows. Neither is cancer, by the way. So that's what I told my loved ones about how I wanted them to talk to me. Maybe your loved one feels the same. Maybe she feels very differently. Ask her. Ask her if she even wants you to ask her how she is. She may not. I found that to be a really hard question to answer while I was sick. And sometimes I wouldn't respond to people who sent me a text or a direct message asking me how I was. The question was too overwhelming. So give her a choice. So many things are out of her control right now. Give her a few things she can have control over by giving her some choices like that. I am sending love to you all. If you found any value in this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. I feel like there's somebody out there that needs to hear my story, and the more people who subscribe, the more likely it is that that person will get to hear it. So thank you so much.